Hey everybody, Chris Traxler, Cirrus Technologies. It is Thursday afternoon, already April. Hey, wanted to talk to everyone about a new cybersecurity threat, or can be a threat, that has recently come about now that everybody has transitioned to work from home and we're all using Zoom meetings. And it's called Zoom bombing. And so I want to preface this that this threat isn't necessarily, it's not a problem with Zoom or a vulnerability with Zoom, more a lack of knowledge how to securely use the product and some of the features that are enabled. And so what is Zoom bombing? Well, in short, it's basically having an unauthorized guest attend your meeting and then share explicit audio or video content through screen sharing or through their video session. And so a couple things. How can you mitigate that, or how can you lock that down? First thing you want to do is with Zoom, everybody gets their own private personal meeting code that you can use to launch an on-demand meeting, and that makes it super easy for when you're doing a regular meeting or a team meeting internally, because people don't have to guess at what the meeting code is. It's the same every time. Problem with that is when you use that for a public call or a large public-facing meeting, you don't want to use your personal code. You want to reserve that. And so for big meetings or public calls, you want to use a one-time meeting code that's just generically generated. And so there's a setting in there that you can uncheck for that. The other thing you want to do is probably a good idea for big meetings or webinars or public-facing meetings to require a meeting passcode that you could then share to whoever you invited. And that way, anybody that didn't have the meeting passcode wouldn't just be able to join the meeting. Another thing we like to do, and I think is a good idea pretty much all the time, is to require the waiting room and enable the waiting room feature. And what that does is when someone tries to join the meeting, they won't instantly be able to join the meeting until they're approved from the waiting room. And so where that's advantageous is, let's say that you have a meeting that ran long and you are using your personal meeting code. You're not going to have someone that shouldn't be overhearing. Let's say it's a sensitive meeting with your HR department or your executive team, and you had another meeting after that was using the same meeting code. This would prevent somebody from trying to join a meeting that shouldn't be a part of. So it's one more way to lock it down. Another thing you can do is you can set screen sharing to where only the host can share their screen, so that guests and attendees are not able to share their screens. Sometimes that's unavoidable depending on the nature of the meeting. You have to enable screen sharing for everybody, but if you're not doing that, that's another way you could lock things down. If you're in a meeting and for some reason someone had something up on their screen that they shouldn't, or something happened, you can also quickly disable anybody's screen camera. So that'll disable video. And the other thing you can do is mute people too. And then for large meetings, I always recommend muting participants or setting the mute upon entry. And that way, if you're having 50 people join and they're not muted by default, you're going to have a lot of background noise and you're going to be constantly fighting that. So having that set on the front end when you create the meeting is a way to make things go smoother as well. Hope these tips help. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you on our next video.